Montreal, Minnesota, 63-64 rotation. Minnesota about a -135 to -140 home favorite. Total sitting at 5.5 here in this game. And we continue to ask the question. We can't find the Minnesota Wild offense right now with a telescope on the ice. That's a big problem right now. Another loss to the Winnipeg Jets the other night, where they just don't put the puck in the net. They lose 2-1. Can't bury chances. And I watched a lot of that game. Their passes aren't sharp right now. They're not clicking. There's no rhythm, no chemistry, no flow in this offense whatsoever. You got Bruce Boudreau yelling at refs during games. Not good. That's not the kind of environment I want to lay -135, -140 with right now on this Minnesota team. Not scoring goals. That's a problem. And I will say this, at least at the moment, has it been a product of playing the Rangers and catching Ottawa on a bad night? Maybe, but Montreal, the last 2 games, have been able to at least put the puck in the net, which has resulted in a couple of wins for them. So fascinating game. 2 teams that right now, throw them up in the air. Whatever happens wouldn't shock me. Minnesota win, Montreal win tonight. I don't know. Anything could happen here in this game. So it's tough to call from a side perspective. Tough to call from a totals perspective. Montreal's actually trended over a few games in a row. Minnesota, can you trust them to go over the total right now with that offense? I'm not sure. So it's a real tough one to wrap my head around it. Have any of the Ice guys wrapped their head around it? The 2 of them have. Dana and Andrew. Let's start with Dana. What are you looking at?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as Minnesota is concerned, I mean, you can. I think the general idea is that they're not very good offensively, but I mean, their numbers offensively, as a whole, have been pretty good. I mean, they're in the upper echelon of the league offensively. So I don't want to jump too far overboard and just saying that they're a bad offensive team. I think there's ebbs and flows of the season, obviously. And I think that, just like I kind of struck when I felt like Montreal was going to kind of hit and go on a little bit of run and give a better effort. I kind of feel that way against Minnesota right now too. And, I'm not going to get fooled, because this is what happens. Montreal scores 8 goals. Public goes crazy. They think, oh, Montreal's back. I'm not going to fall into that trap of getting fooled, because I like to see more of a maybe a 3 to 5 game sample, rather than saying, okay, well, this is what we just saw. And we see it all the time in the NFL, guys. I mean, where we take what a team just did and applied it to the next week. And 9 times out of 10, that's just the wrong assessment. So, Ottawa's, before this game, Montreal still was the lowest scoring team in the league. They've moved up to 25th after this game. That doesn't excite me. And they have, of course, they've scored 18 goals in 4 games. So everybody thinks, okay, well, Montreal's a team to play, and certainly you're getting a decent plus price here. But the question is, are they going to be able to match up against Minnesota, who I feel like is better offensively? Still I would like them to be a little bit better on the power play, but I think once they put that together, I think we'll stop talking about how bad they are offensively. I'm still not there with Carey Price. I tried to ride him for a little bit and think, this guy is going to really, he has the potential of carrying a team, but I'm also kind of to the point right now where, if you look at Carey's numbers, and we've got a pretty good sample size right now, this is probably the worst numbers he's had since he played for the Williams Lake Timberwolves, who is now a suspended member of a Canadian junior team. And of course, that was a Bantam team at the time when he played for that. That was the last time we could go back and look at numbers that weren't very good for Carey Price. And even in National Hockey League numbers, I mean, you really have to go back to 2008 in the playoffs to kind of point to a disappointing outing or a disappointing group of games for Carey Price. But, lo and behold, this is where he is, and there is going to be a time where he's going to start to go backwards, and perhaps this is the time. And I don't know if this is in a situation, guys, where Carey might I know he's loyal to Montreal, but perhaps he's a little frustrated inside because I don't know if the Stanley Cup is within within their reach. I don't know what's within the reach of Carey Price and his time remaining there. This might be a situation where he might look to go get a ring somewhere else because to me this team is kind of a mess, and I hate to equate him to the Florida Panthers, but this is that it kind of gives me that same feeling, and I think this is going to be a spot where they score 8 goals. They feel good about themselves. We always use the term that the bellies are full, and I think that's the way they're going to play tonight. They're still horrific on the penalty kill, and I'm very confident in Minnesota's ability to get this win tonight. I don't think Montreal has what it takes internally to come off of a game where they score 8 goals and kind of equate that to the next game. I think you're going to see a satisfied Montreal team that's kind of got a chip off their shoulder, and I think Minnesota will take advantage of that.
There you go, Minnesota laying the price, and Dana talking about Carey.
It's very Europe of you.
Exactly, yeah. And the fact that he might want to get the hell out of there, and at this point he might. We'll see, but you're right. He's been frustrated. He's had to carry the weight of this team on his shoulders for years because they've struggled to score goals. Now they've struggled early in the season to score goals, but defensively they're a shell of what they've been in years past. So at some point, Carey Price says, just get me to a team that can, consistently score for me, that will, play better in front of me. I don't want to have to make 10 bell saves left and right 5, 6, 7, 8 times a game in order to ensure we win hockey games. And there could be a point where Carey says it's time to move on, and we'll end up seeing if that ends up being the case down the road. But you're right. I mean, it's not been an easy hockey life. Let's put it that way. Carey Price playing in Montreal for these last several years. We've got Andrew, the resident Hab fan, involved in this game as well. Andrew, the Habs taking on the Wild. Can they withstand prosperity, your Habs, after that win against Ottawa?
Well, I really think as far as Carey Price goes, guys, I don't want to overthink it too much. I think, when you see the Habs put up 8 goals against Ottawa, put up 5 goals against the Rangers, guys, if you're a goalie, if you're Carey Price back there, you have to imagine that gives you a little bit of confidence. I mean, you guys can't tell me that doesn't make you feel a lot better as a goaltender to finally see your Canadians stepping up and at least putting pucks in the back of the net for you. I mean, as a goalie, that's all you can wish for, is seeing your offense finally sparking, putting 8 goals against the Ottawa Senators has to make you feel good. I think this Minnesota team is one of those teams that just, like Dana said, almost, they don't try it to be this way, but they're not one of those teams that's out there to win, 7-2 kind of thing like that. They're a 2-1 kind of team. That's the way that they play. They clog the neutral zone up, and the goals they score are sharp, but they're a lot of just kind of tap it around the crease kind of goals. They haven't really been scored. Their stat sheet hasn't really flown off the page too much. And I'm liking the under in this game at 5.5. I think that Carey Price will kind of just settle into his own a little bit, and I think it's very key that he's actually away on the road in Minnesota. I think sometimes it's good for a goalie to settle in when they are on the road. Obviously, the crazy Montreal fans somehow giving him havoc, even though he's carried the team the past several years. I think it's very disrespectful that he's been getting some hate from the fans. But look, this Minnesota team is a team that likes to be low scoring. They like to kind of drag things out a little bit. And I think that, look, the Habs can play that same kind of style as well, as we've seen for the first couple games of this season. Besides really the past couple games, they have struggled to score offensively. So I think Carey will sharpen up things this game, guys, and I think the Habs will, probably won't put up 8 goals this game, and it'll be a little bit sharper of a game for both teams.
All right, there we go.
Play.
All right, awesome. So we got 2 different opinions on that game. Minnesota for Dana, under 5.5 for Andrew. So there you go. 2 chances maybe to cash in with Habs Wild tonight in that hockey game. And you're right. It's ridiculous to hear any Bronx cheers at the Bell Center when Carey makes a save like he did a couple of times against LA in that one game. Like let's grow up. Let's be mature fans. I know fans get upset. They want to voice their displeasure, but let's be mature. Because really, there are years your team's not even sniffing a playoff spot without Carey Price, not even sniffing one, basically, without him. So let's calm down about, getting on his back for what's happened so far this season. So, but that's what you'd expect sometimes from, I don't want to say they are passionate fans, the Hab fans, you give them credit for that. But then there are some that go overboard and they're nonsensical. They're so fanatical wrapped up with the Montreal Canadiens that they sort of lose their senses. And booing Carey Price is a perfect example of that.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.